Hey everybody, my name is Jackson Nordic, and today I'm going to be talking about why wild caught fish is better than farmed. So, in today's world, Americans and especially young adults are more involved than ever in finding ways they can help the environment. Part of this movement is the phrase save the ocean. Young people are extremely interested in finding out how to play a part in preserving the ocean and its wildlife for future generations. This is illustrated by the fact that the number of students graduating with marine biology degrees is outpacing the number of jobs in marine biology. Initiatives to donate money to reduce plastics waste or save the whales are all over the place, and ocean conservation topics often dominate your social media. But we, as young adults, are ignoring one big way that we can make a difference and be more sustainable, and that is by not eating farmed fish. Contrary to popular belief, farmed fish is actually less healthy both for you and for the environment than wild-caught fish. And today I'm going to tell you why that is. To begin with, let's talk about the cons of fish farming. I'm going to be focusing specifically on salmon because it's something that I have expertise in, and salmon is one of the most commonly eaten and farmed fishes in the Western world. So first off, salmon have a poor feed to product ratio. Basically what this means is the amount of feed or seafood matter that it takes to produce a pound of meat, because they're feeding farmed salmon ground up wild caught fishes of whatever type. The author Paul Greenberg, a fisheries expert, in his book For Fish, says that in an unimproved state, it takes 6 pounds of wild caught fish feed to produce 1 pound of farmed salmon. At a farm that has highly bred and selectively genetically modified salmon, 3 pounds of wild fish-based feed can produce 1 pound of edible farm salmon. The second con of fish farming is PCB ingestion. PCBs are polychlorinated biphenyls. They're industrial chemicals that used to be used in the 60s and 70s. They've since been outlawed, but they are still found in trace amounts in nature and commonly can build up in seafood. Jennifer Nelson of the Mayo Clinic says, quote, "Farmed salmon that are fed ground up fish have been found to be higher in PCBs compared with wild caught salmon. Therefore, compared to wild fish, farmed fish have an inherent health risk. Fish farms pose damage to the environment. The overcrowding can lead to polluted ocean waters where the farms are located and attract parasites that affect the wild fish around the farms. Poor aquaculture practices plague fish farming, including issues like sanitation. Many of these farms are extremely dirty, and use of growth hormones and GMOs, which we have little knowledge of how it affects human health. Finally, one of the main cons of fish farming is genome pollution. Escaped farmed fish can inbreed with wild-caught fish populations and dilute their gene pools, making them weaker and more susceptible to disease." And here's an image of a large salmon farm set out in a bay area. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to eat sustainably wild-caught fish. American fisheries in recent years have made massive strides towards being more sustainable and healthy for the environment. And eating wild-caught fish solves the issue of the feed-to-product ratio. You don't need to fish to feed the fish if you just eat the fish. One big example of this is Alaskan salmon fisheries. I actually have a job working commercial fishing in Alaska. The last 2 summers, I've worked for a company that fishes and sells sockeye salmon. And I actually took this picture that you see on the screen. So I do have some expertise in this field. The Alaskan salmon fishery is extremely well managed by Alaska Fish and Game. They decide when and you can fish and when you can't, and they make sure there's always enough salmon to have a healthy run and a good enough number of adults to spawn while still supporting the fishing industry and producing a massive amount of food for the rest of the world. On the left, here's an image of me with a Chinook salmon up in Alaska, and on the right is a picture of a salmon fishing boat. So what are the benefits of wild-caught fish? Well, first off, they're healthier. Levels of nutrients are almost always higher in wild fish as opposed to farmed, especially omega-3 fatty acids, which are excellent for human health. They're better for the environment, and you can support local American workers and fishermen. Fishing is a big industry in America. Eating fish like salmon and halibut from Alaska, black cod from Washington State, and sea bass from Massachusetts keeps your dollars in America and supports smaller American businessmen and fishermen like myself. So my call to action is eat wild-caught fish. As young adults, we're beginning to buy our own groceries and be more conscious of what we eat. So I would ask that you, when you're buying groceries or even just going out to eat, pay attention to the fish you're buying. Where is it from? Is it farmed? Is it wild caught? Think about what some of the health benefits or negatives it may have, and just factor that into your decision. Be a better consumer, be informed, and eat wild caught fish. Thanks, guys.